servants here and for all those in attendance today. We pray that you would bless them this spring with good health and prosperity in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all. Madam Clerk, if you do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Haley,
Here.
Commissioner Holzhausen.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Garber.
Here.
Commissioner Howard.
Here.
Commissioner Shepard.
Present.
And Chairman Broder.
Here. All right, at this point, I would entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
And I've got support. Yes,
I'm good.
discussions, changes?
We were talking about moving next month's meetings. Do we want to add that to the agenda?
You can do it, I was gonna bring it up during the, my comments. You can make a motion, it doesn't have to be on the agenda.
Do we need to vote on that if
You
we
do need to
choose?
vote on it.
So we'll save that for toward the end of the meeting.
Okay,
It's on my list, but you don't have to put it on the agenda to do it.
okay, thank you.
All right, any other discussion on tonight's agenda? All in favor of approving tonight's agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that is approved. I will also need a motion to approve the minutes of the March 12th, 2025 Board of Commissioners meeting.
So moved.
Support. I have a motion with support. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor of approving those minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the minutes are approved. Commissioner Garber for the bills, please.
Yes, thank you. I move to approve the invoice edit reports dated 3/13, 3/14, 3/20, 3/21, 3/27, 3/28, 4/3, and 4/4 in the amount of $6,323,662.27 and authorize Treasury to draw warrants for that amount.
Support.
I have a motion. I thought I heard a support somewhere.
Who was
Yes,
that?
sure.
Bill.
Motion with support. Any discussion on the bills? Any questions? In that case, I'll need a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Holzhausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Garber.
Yes.
Commissioner Howard.
Yes.
Commissioner Shepard.
Yes.
Commissioner Haley.
Yes.
And Chairman Broder.
Yes, thank you very much. At this time, we have our first opportunity for the public to address the board. I have one, and coming up a second. You can just bring it forward if you would. First, we have Gary, how's that pronounce your last name? Helfman.
Yes.
Thank you. Please come forward.
Okay.
You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Gary Helfman. I live in Fowlerville, but my wife and I, we inherited property in Scioto Township. Okay. Just a brief thing about Fowlerville. Fowlerville has very bad mail service. I've experienced my family and friends mailing cards to my kids, and they never get received. And the grandparents would wonder why we never cash their checks. What makes my mail even worse is I live at 601 North Grand. There's also a 601 Grand River, and our mail would get screwed up a lot. They went to the point where they even got themselves a separate post office box. But on February 2nd of 2024, I mailed in my property taxes to Scioto Township, and then I went on vacation for the winter. I got it back in April. It said, return to sender, no mailbox receptacle, unable to forward. Okay. I proceeded to write another letter, made a photocopy of this, and I mailed it back in. And I never heard a thing, okay? Hands are shaking. Now comes the fall of 24, when my next tax payment was due. I mailed that in, and those taxes were paid, they were accepted and paid, okay? We went on vacation again. Then I come home, we come home in April, and I find this letter for $519 for taxes that are due. And I proceeded to call, and I found out that there's a penalty assessed to it for the taxes not coming in. I did go to the bank, I did check, that check was never cashed, and I don't know where it is or what happened to it. But, I did everything, properly. It seems to me that when I called, they said they had sent certified letters to my house about this. Now, I wasn't at home, so it was never received, it was never signed for. My opinion is, the mail service is there, they probably knew we weren't home, they just didn't even bother trying. But anyway, that's just my opinion. I want to pay my taxes, but I think there should be some consideration about the additional fees that are added on. And I ask that you reduce it to an obligation that's good, fair for both of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom?
That was something I had brought to you guys before, quite a while ago, about K-9 for the Sheriff's Department. And I know that the county is going to, Dr. Boggs was going to be talking to our attorney here, county attorney, and they didn't like the idea of a GoFundMe. I talked to Josh at a meeting here this past week, and I think we kind of discussed that. Why are we going for tax money? Why are we looking for grant tax money when we can just go ahead and fund it ourselves? And I'm willing, my organization, my company, Friends Community News Group, we would be honored to do a GoFundMe to bring in the money that's needed for this county. Why do we need to spend taxpayer money when we can get the money from the public? And I think the public would really enjoy being able to be part of this, and we do need a dog at night. Especially now that Chesney has gotten rid of their dogs, all of them, and we don't have a dog at night. So again, I'm bringing it to you guys. I think it's nonsense that we go for tax money when we can get the public, I guess that's the conservative part in me, is I don't want to ask for liberal money when we can get people to actually donate to get a dog. What are we looking at? My understanding is probably around 15 to 20,000, and then upkeep, say 25 to 30,000 to fund this dog for a couple of years. I think that would be that's doable. I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. But I'm just offering again. We'll be the spare point to get the money in, so we can get a dog and not wait for tax money. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one, we will move on to committee reports. Commissioner Holzhausen, can we start with you today?
Okay. I'm on the health board, and things are moving along good over there. They always have a little problem with nurses and a few things. Also on the mental health board, and the state and the federals likes to cut the budget over there, so things are really tight. Also on the senior citizen board, and we're having a little problem down on Morris. They had a building that was donated to them, and it needs a lot of repair. They don't know exactly what they're going to do. I mean, maybe 100,000 or more like that to repair it. So they're looking at some different option. It's not open full time like the Wasso and Durand, so I don't know what's going to, and I'm on the SED board with Justin Horvath, and they have all kinds of grants and meetings and everything like that for businesses to attend, so things are moving along good there. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Carver?
Yeah, just one thing that I would like to share for those of you that haven't already heard me talk about this. Sarah Edwards, our family court administrator, had mentioned she was looking for some more meaningful community service for some of our juvenile troublemakers, for lack of a better word. And it had occurred to me that Pleasant View was always in need of volunteers being short everywhere. So I contacted the administrator at Pleasant View, Shayna Espinoza, and we met with Walt Knickerbocker and some of her team and got everything going, and I think we're going to be able to really have a win-win for Pleasant View and our court, so more to come on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Commissioner
you.
Johnson, anything? Commissioner Haley?
Nothing to report really yet. Parks and Recreation Committee and them has not met yet. We'll have more information once we do. I think right now we were focusing mostly on where to have our meetings, which typically we want to keep them outside and in the parks, actually, where we actually do business there. So not too much to report.
Thank you. Commissioner Howard?
Yeah, neither of my committee thing, so I have nothing to report.
All right, very good. Commissioner Shepherd?
I'm on the Shiawassee County Council on Aging with Gary to go a little bit more into the repairs to the Morris Senior Center. The issue is the windows that are in there now are very old and they're leaking and the sills are rotting out. So they had come to us with a proposed water softener system, and we tabled that until we can figure out whether it's viable to keep that building in the county or donate it back to the Shiawassee system and just have the Wasso and Durant. Like I said, it could be more than $100,000. Water's getting down between the bricks and the foundation and pushing the walls out a bit. I'm not sure if, is it the Little Bear Foundation? Little
Lion Bear.
Lion Bear, help me get it. If something of that sort could be utilized with their grant writing, maybe we could get it back a hold for, I don't know if you want to do that or
Sure.
Gary or whoever.
I'll talk to him about that.
And the GLS is going kind of slow with the economic downturn, but hopefully things will turn back up and we'll get some more trade going on I-69 throughout Shiawassee County and Genesee and Lapeer counties. I was elected to the vice chair position over there this last month. Hopefully we can get some gains going.
Matt, has the road commission been sending a member? I was kind of pushing on that for a while.
I haven't seen anybody else from our county.
Okay, so you haven't seen Flahman over there or anyone?
Well, John was there in January.
Okay. Well, hopefully he or someone else will show up, because it really is a road thing. I'm glad you're there keeping an eye on it, but we should, if we can, have somebody also from the road commission. We technically have 3 seats over there, but we rarely have more than one person.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think there's one from the road commission, county commissioner, and township representative.
Oh, is that it? Okay. All right. All set?
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right. With that, done, let's move on to our motions and reports. Commissioner Howard, can we start with you?
Absolutely. I move to approve the 2025 total equalized valuation and resolution number 25-04-04 and authorize the board chair and county clerk to execute the L4024, L4037, and any necessary documents.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Any discussion on that?
Just very briefly, so taxable value went up to countywide to about 3.98 billion, which is up from 3.65 billion the previous year. That equates to about $350,000 more in revenue for the county, which, while that does sound sizable, that'll barely make it past any inflationary aspects that we've had over this past year, if it covers them at all. And the amount that we've raised keeps going back down towards $300,000 due to depreciation of solar fields and wind turbines. Well, I don't know yet, but the depreciation of it just keeps causing it to go down back to the traditional $300,000 mark. Because generally it goes up about $200,000 every year.
Any questions on that?
Well, my question regards, this is a SEV value, correct? State equalized value.
The total equalized value.
Does that take into account for homes that have gone in disrepair or?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes, this is, again, the ratio that we set is set by equalization department doing a study, and then the assessor has to meet that ratio. So it's incumbent upon the assessor to take into account severe depreciation or dilapidation of a home. So yes, it should be taken care of at the local level.
So if a property owner is not able to maintain their house or do modifications, the value goes up even though?
Well, it would depend on the local assessor and what they do. So the local assessors settle up with us. So that would be, for example, Bennington Township, whoever their assessor is, would make those recommendations on the property, and then it's turned into us.
And every individual is given the right every year to appeal before the local assessor's March board of review. And if they do have issues, they can bring it up with their assessor there or beforehand when they get their assessment notices. For folks that have a poverty situation, there is an exemption, a poverty exemption, that they can also apply to any board of review during the year.
And you will notice that in your packets, you have the filled out papers for that based on the events this week.
Any further questions? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Garber?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Shepherd?
No.
Commissioner Haley?
Yes.
Commissioner Holzhausen?
Yes.
Chairman Broder?
Yes.
I move to approve the minutes of the April 7th, 2025 Economic and Physical Development Committee meeting.
Support.
I have motion support. Any discussion on those minutes? All in favor of approving those minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved.
That concludes my report.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Commissioner Howard. Commissioner Garber, over to you.
All right, I move that we accept the county clerk's year-end report and place it on file.
Support.
I have a motion with supports. Discussion on that?
I don't have anything to add, except this is an annual report that we get from the clerk. We get one from the register of deeds. They, felonies were down, PPOs were up, continued revenue from birth certificates, lower death certificates, and higher CPS. Does that capture everything, Madam Clerk?
Other than the elections, I just wanted to touch on the early voting, because that's probably the biggest thing that changed. And so one of the things that we were given were grants for the wages, and everyone's aware that I held one election site for everybody. So that was to help alleviate a lot of the financial costs that would be incurred if they had to open up and have at least a minimum of 4 people for some of these elections. And for the bigger elections, there's always more than 4, probably double for like November. So we were given grant money and we were given reimbursement, and so I just wanted to point out that for February, we were given 100% reimbursement, and that total election was 102,000 plus. So we were given total reimbursement for that. But in August, when we did this, where's my numbers? I wanted to show you that the local clerks, after we got our reimbursement and what it ran for them, what it cost them for local reimbursement. It was basically, after we did the reimbursement from the state and all of that, because we were paying more money to our workers than what the state was going to reimburse us, because we needed to make it lucrative. It is a 9-day, 2 weeks commitment for, 10 hours. It's not just you have to be available to vote 8 hours, but they're there 10 hours or longer if they don't balance. And so it was running each jurisdiction $161.74 for the August election, and for the November election it ran them $231.83 each. So that is a huge savings once we broke that down, but I don't know what the state is going to do. There's a lot of questions to them right now as far as there's excess grant money from the equipment and what they're doing with that. And we have been asking the state to, for those even year elections and the 9-day early voting, to reimburse us those wages. But we will see. There's a lot up in the air with that. And so if not, I have given the clerks, it will run them a couple thousand, 3,000 to 5,000 each, to have us pay them and hold it, but it's still cheaper than what they would have to do if they ran it themselves. So, elections is becoming very costly.
I will say this, Caroline did a remarkable job doing the early voting center that we did not have to do. It could have been incumbent on the local clerks to do it, but Caroline decided to do it, and it turned out very well.
Thank you.
I
And
would
the,
say that's-
the equipment was $77,000, and I got all that money reimbursed back. So it didn't cost us anything for that.
That makes us smile.
I got $100,000 in grant money, so I was very excited. And it went off great, so that's all I had to add.
Thank you. Any other questions? Commissioner
Well,
Shepherd?
Lanesburg and Perry have a special election coming up in May for their school board.
Yes.
Why didn't they put that on the general election instead of incurring more burden to the taxpayer?
That'd be a question for those board members, for those school boards, because they have the right to have a special election.
I appreciate your,
The county clerks have tried to get the May special election date removed, and we have gone against the legislation with the school board. Is really, they want a special election date. So we've talked to them about the dynamics of how things have changed with permanent ballots in the early voting, and so some counties right now are running special elections for the May election because they're going to charge those schools all those costs.
they're not gonna be happy.
That's been a matter for discussion for years in Lansing.
Yes.
Do the schools know what the cost
Years
is gonna
and
be,
years.
have any idea, or they just dreaming?
We've done
They'll
it
just
before.
pay it. They're
don't
just
care.
going to pay it.
They don't care because it's how they get their money.
Oh,
Well, yeah, it'll be interesting.
Sorry, that just.
What is?
No, I mean,
What is the, average cost of a special election like that?
Well, when Owasso did a special election, that ran them almost $40,000. So it just depends on what jurisdictions are open, how many workers, and there's just so many different dynamics. And so Perry, someone asked me about Perry, a constituent called last week, and I said, if they get it under $15,000, I will be surprised. So.
A lot of ballots already been sent out.
Well, Saginaw County is doing 9-day early voting, and they only have a couple of schools. And so those school districts are going to feel that cost because Saginaw is much larger than we are.
And Caroline, is that because the 9-day early voting is not required for this local election?
Correct, it is not required.
By the
Oh,
law.
I didn't know that.
So that's why our county is not,
Right,
it's not part of our agreement with our townships or municipalities.
Right.
Because it's not one of the elections where it is mandated.
the mandate is federal and state elections, we have to offer 9-day early voting. And our local jurisdictions, in our discussion, decided that we would wait and see what happens with the law because it's too new. And the example is Saginaw County has New Lothrop schools, Shiawassee County has New Lothrop school voters as well. Saginaw County will open up for 9-day early voting. That's the agreement they have with their locals, that they will run 9 days for every single election. Our clerks are saying we're going to only do basically the even year unless the state called for an election in the odd year. And if one of my voters said my rights have been violated and they file something saying that they weren't able to vote or they didn't get the opportunity 9 days, this is the potential scenario that the state is seeing that could change things to where 9-day early voting would be every year
But-
for every election, but that is not the case yet, so.
The county is doing what is required
Yep.
under the law.
Yes. and we're gonna wait and see what happens.
All right. Any other discussion? Who would have thought that the clerk's report would result in so much discussion? Roll call vote, please.
On the report?
I guess I can do a voice. I can do a voice for it. All right. All in favor of approving that signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved. Thank you.
I move that we approve the annual renewal invoice from BSB Communications Incorporated for the phone system, software, and upgrades not to exceed $6,648.19.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Any discussion on that?
Standard renewal for our phone system, it's just now over the $6,000 mark.
Okay. Any other? Roll call vote on that one, please.
Commissioner Garber?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Shepherd?
Yes.
Commissioner Haley?
Yes.
Commissioner Holzhausen?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Chairman Broder?
Yes.
I move to approve resolution number 250403, authorizing publication of notice of intent to issue bonds.
Support.
I have a motion with support.
So very briefly, so I've been working with Shayna and our team of bond counsel to look at selling $10 million worth of bonds to add an additional section, or the fourth wing to Pleasant View because of their need. They will be paying $2.5 million or 25% of that, and anything over that to build on. So our bond sales will be around $7.5 million, but then they will use their money from the millage that they get to make the payments. Their building is almost paid off right now, and then they will use their millage to make the additional payments over the bond. This is an intent resolution. You will get a second resolution after bond counsel makes some projections and prices and payment schedule, but this is just the notice that says we are interested in selling, and then we will move on to the next step if this passes. If you have questions related to the bonding procedure, I can answer those. Shayna has some additional information she would like to add, but the technical questions related to the care of the residents, I would direct towards Shayna.
Just a couple quick things. I went back and I looked at the real data. We had some discussion on Monday about the rates with which we admit from the wait list for in-county. It's a lot slower than I had indicated. It slowed down midway 24, all the way down at this point to about one admission every 2 months. A lot of variables go into that. It can change day to day, but I want to make sure you had that real data information. I also just want to thank you all again for your support as a county home. We're very proud to be one of 34 county homes in the state of Michigan. And that allows us to invest in our community. A lot of for-profit entities, the profits go into owners. In our structure, we're able to take our revenue sources and invest that back into the community for projects like this. And again, I just want to make clear, we're not asking for any additional revenue sources. We're using the funds that we have to make the payments for this bond. And I can answer any questions.
I had a question. So sources of revenue, the millage that is assessed to the county is only about 16% of your revenues. Is that correct?
That's correct. The rest is primarily Medicare and Medicaid.
Thank you.
Could you reiterate how long you think it would take to pay off this
The bond.
without an additional burden to the taxpayer?
Yeah, I mean, you mean with the return on investment calculations?
Correct.
So at a 20 bed, and remember we're looking at a 40 bed goal, but right now we have at least 20 beds for the certificate of need with that final approval in June. But once you deduct all expenses from the revenue calculations that we have, once we open 20 beds, we're looking at $1 million increase. So, and that's again, very conservative estimates. So you would look at that as a potential 10-year. I think that's again, very conservative, probably a higher return on investment rate. And that's at the 20 beds. So if we get to the 40 beds sooner, like we hope, that would accelerate that timeline. Also, there's a lot of rate considerations that go into that. A lot of those rates aren't known until year end for the next year. So very conservative estimates. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
In terms of the bond, it will likely be a 10-year bond. We'll wait to see what the projection comes back from the bond council and our finance council.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, I got a question. So you mentioned 20 beds and 40 beds.
Yes.
In the plan, it shows 20 rooms. Is there,
Yes.
if we went to 40 beds, is that an additional building or
Nope.
you double up in the rooms?
No, so that build before you, that
Yeah.
other side, that is ready to go for the other 20 beds to about an 80% completion. It wouldn't have the final touches with like the toilets and the bathrooms, but it would be ready structurally to go for those other 20 beds. There would be no additional build and no additional request for bonding.
What is that labeled as on your graph?
I would have to see the graph. It should say future, or I'm not sure. I'd have to see which one you're looking at. But it would be the opposite mirror end of where the actual resident rooms are labeled.
Okay, so the addition is only 20 beds, and then you're gonna add 20 beds into the existing footprint today? No.
No, it's a square unit that we're building. We're finishing to completion 20 beds for use, 20 of those rooms. The other 20 beds, structurally, the other 20 rooms will be built. They just won't be utilized for occupancy until we have
Okay.
approval.
Okay, understood. So it's really a 40-bed structure you're building?
Correct.
Gotcha, okay.
Do you expect approval for 40?
At this point, no. We are looking at avenue sources to, there's purchase, there's specialty pool beds we're looking at. Not at the same timeline in that certificate of need. Yes, in the near future.
Any other questions? I'd like a roll call on this one.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Shepherd,
Yes.
Commissioner Haley,
Yes.
Commissioner Holzhausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Garber,
Yes.
Chairman Broder.
Yes.
I move to approve the minutes of the April 7th, 2025 Finance and Administration Committee meeting.
Support.
I have a motion to support. Any questions on those minutes? All in favor of approving those minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Thank you, Commissioner Garber. Commissioner Haley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to approve resolution number 250402 of adoption for the Shiawassee County 2024 Local Hazard Mitigation Plan as presented.
Support.
Motion to support. Any discussion on that?
Very briefly, this is the federally required plan by FEMA, makes us eligible for funding, has to be completed every 5 years. The process for this began in December of 2022 through a grant from the state of Michigan to pay for it. So it was of zero economic impact to us, and the emergency manager completed the report working with a consultant, and you have it digitally, it's 200 some pages, and then the highlights in front of you.
Any other questions?
You were the last step in the process to finalize.
All in favor of approving that resolution, please signify.
Roll call, it's a resolution.
A resolution as a roll call.
Yes.
Let's have a roll call then.
Commissioner Shepherd,
Yes.
Commissioner Haley,
Yes.
Commissioner Holzhausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Garber,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Chairman Broder.
Yes. One more.
I move to approve the minutes of the April 8th, 2025 Public Safety and Courts Committee meeting.
Support.
Motion to support. Any discussion on those minutes? All in favor of those, approving those minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Thank you very much. That ends our motions. This time, I just wanted to say a couple of things. Let you know that the land bank is rolling on and on, all good stuff. We have some updates on our blight. You know, we had those various rounds of blight elimination. As is typical, we hit a few snags with a couple things, but I don't think we've lost any projects. Anything that's dropped out. Probably the biggest question is the old city club in Owasso has got something's still going to happen there. But I'm confident.
Something's going to
Something's gonna happen.
Something's
Kind of depends on the city a little bit.
the They're also, despite a lot of budget tightening, Michigan's kind of washing money on some grant. We are applying and hoping for some of that for a number of things, from development to helping people in our community do some repairs of their homes, and a number of other things. So I'll keep you up to date on that. There's really nothing yet. It's just under the discussion of applying for the grants, so you know how that goes. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. I'm trying to think what else. I was at the VAAA, my first meeting with them, and because I'm on that, I went and had lunch with Ms. Mayhew over at SCOA. I had a nice lunch over there and got a tour of their facility. Provided a very nice lunch. Let's see, I think that's about all I had, other than I wanted to just remind all of my commissioners that when we need information from various departments and stuff, remember that we are one vote out of 7, and we do need to coordinate that through Dr. Boggs, because even asking for information is spending county resources. And obviously, if it's a very reasonable request, it'll be granted. If it's a larger request, we may even need the approval of this board. So everybody please try to keep that in mind, and I don't think there's really any problem there. That is all I can think of that I had for today. Dr. Boggs, you want to take it from here?
I have a handful of things, so just building on what you said about the grants. When we applied for this, these Michigan grants, there was a cap. It was $400,000 without a match. And we applied for both the land bank and the brownfield. The land bank is technically a separate governmental entity, but the brownfield development authority is under the county board of commissioners. However, they have since removed the cap, or the match for the cap, and so we can apply for up to $1.5 million. So we have increased our ask for both for $1.5 million, which we used for various infrastructure projects, building projects, blight elimination, and homeowner rehab programs, if we are to get the money. But once they remove the matching component, there is no reason not to go for the gusto. Several commissioners have expressed to me that there may be a conflict for some of them with Board of Commissioners meetings in May due to conferences, due to work schedules, and other events on between May 12th and May 14th. And it was suggested that the meeting be moved to May 19th through the 21st, for the following week. If that is the desire of the board, then you will need to make a motion as such.
I would make a motion that we move our May board meetings to Monday, May 19th through the 21st.
Support. I have a motion with support. Discussion on moving our meetings. Anybody? Gary?
Yeah, I plan on being out of town vacation that week, so that's all right.
Change your vacation.
Pardon?
Change your
Oh,
vacation.
shoot.
Yeah.
You're okay with it?
Yeah, whatever the board does, I'm just one person, so.
Okay.
They can get by, you only need 4 persons that run the board, so.
Anybody else have? All right, all in favor of moving that meeting day, those meeting dates, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Those will be moved over to the 19th?
I go to the cabin that week,
Yep.
but holidays.
Dr. Baltimore?
Yes, so as you know, we had the power outage in the storm that, storm and then the power outage that resulted in it. Several of our buildings do have generators, but they power unique and different things. But we're gonna go through and assess what each of them is currently powering. And with some of our power upgrades that we've done, moving to LED systems, we believe we can add more items onto these generators. So we're going to be assessing what is currently being powered and what needs to be on there over the next several months to make sure they're as efficient as possible. Also, the county uses a system called Everbridge to alert staff as well as residents about different things. It's the system that we use to say things like the county is closed, particularly for county employees. We have updated the system to make sure everyone is included. There was a gap in it from when we transferred from the previous system called RAVE to this one. We're now entering them as employees are hired or terminated or leave from our HR functions here in this office. so everyone has now been added. The audit is still currently underway. We will have something for you in May or June related to that. We will have a couple of financial policies that we would like to implement at that time that are coming out of the audit related, that Maynard Custodian are drafting, particularly related to when deposits are made and when things are reconciled. Those will be coming to you for your viewing pleasure in the next couple of months. And then just very briefly, for Mr. Helsman, Julie would be happy to talk to you afterwards about it. She's the county treasurer. And for Tom, the request to do this has to come from the sheriff before we begin. So when he makes a request, we can look at the dog through legal, but it's got to come from him first, if that's what he wishes to do. And then finally, I sent all of you by email a vendor report that was requested by Commissioner Shepard. It's right here if you'd like to see it. It's 5 years worth of financial data back to back. It's about 1,400 pages. It is been sent to you digitally, but I cannot give information to only one commissioner. So it has been sent to all of you.
Can I ask what in the world I'm looking at? 1,460 pages. Could you narrow down? Is there something in particular? Because I don't have time to.
I was asked to provide 5 years worth of financial data.
At what cost?
Well, 4 days of staff time. I discussed this with Chairman Broder, and we have provided it.
Really? So we're going to expend thousands of dollars of taxpayer money, and to what end?
Well, that's part of why I talked today about we have to, we haven't had a precedent before of anyone asking for so much information at one time. And I think in the future for large requests like this, even if it comes from a commissioner, probably we should have a board vote on that in the future when we're going to expend so much time gathering information. So I agree, it was expensive.
But again, is there something I should be looking at?
I don't know, I didn't ask for
I mean,
information.
could we just honestly say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, and maybe save a little time?
Well, again, if I had to do
Expense?
it again and I realized how much it would cost, I would have probably said we should talk to the whole board about it. Because we may not have been willing as a board to do that. I don't know if Commissioner, you want to talk more about what it is you're looking for and all that.
I just want to see what our expenditures are. I've been in the capacity that I'm in for the past 5-7 years. So.
I feel like that's pretty broad. And I, as a commissioner, have never had a problem asking a direct question to anybody in the administration office. So I would suggest maybe being a little more honest and direct with what it is you're looking for in the future to save taxpayer money.
Transparency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Be transparent about what we're doing with our time, which is money.
And then lastly, I will connect with SCOA and line there. That's all.
All right.
We'll be bringing up the incident today.
Good job.
Thank you.
That's not a personnel issues are not discussed at the board of commissioners members.
At this time, we have our second opportunity for the public to address the board. I see Tom coming forward.
Something very important that you guys all should know about.
Careful, just knocking stuff over. There's a reason why you hand it to her and she passes it over, just like the other 700 times that we've done this.
Keep forgetting that you guys have antiquated sound equipment when it could just be run right underneath. I just keep forgetting about that. You tear it down every time. I don't know who's gonna break in here and steal it, but you guys.
There's a
tear it
process,
down.
we ask you to follow it.
All right. You're burning your minutes,
Okay.
so let's go.
Excuse me. Something that you guys all need to know about. Owasso Sewer and Water, which takes care of Corunna, partial Caledonia, partial Owasso Township. They've got some big problems with it, with the system, and they're not lying. I know we're used to non-transparency and we're used to people lying on things, but it turns out that it's worse than what they're telling people. I've done 4 videos for the city on the problems, and I was asked not to put on the video some of the problems because they're afraid the state will walk in immediately and it won't be pretty. They're having a meeting on April 21, April 23, and May 7th at the Owasso Performing Arts at Owasso High School. So to talk about this, let me put it very simply to you, and this is how I put it to them the other night, that they asked me not to put in the video. Owasso's water comes out of these deep wells. It comes up. It's pristine. It goes into the plant. It gets everything done to it that needs to be done, so it's pristine to go out. Then it runs out into a 1 million gallon something tank that's underground, that's concrete, that's 100 years old, that has been leaking for maybe 50, 60 years. It leaks so bad they have to put chlorine in the water. So, it would be like if you guys lived in an apartment building and they had a well to the apartments, but that well had pristine water, but they were putting it then in a holding tank that groundwater and river water could get in. But they cured it, so the state was happy by dumping chlorine in. That's the condition of right now. They're not looking at taking care of that problem right now because they say it's too expensive. So for the next 4 or 5 years, to another council, they're going to let that water, and they can't get in the tank. Oh, that's very important. They can't get in. The valves are broke. Been broke for 50 years. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I do have something else. Just something brief, just to bring to your attention in case anyone looks through the newspaper and sees that maybe the county closed isn't in there. I do send notices to the Argus Press and used to do the Independent as well. And this past year, for the 2 holidays we've had so far, I noticed that they weren't posted, so I reached out to Tom Campbell and asked, is there a change that I'm not aware of? And so they've had some staff turnover, and he just explained that they felt if it was not in the paper, he can't guarantee that it would be in the paper, that it's just an implicit knowledge that the counties are closed on major holidays. So I'm just letting you know, I will continue to send the notice, and if it makes it in the paper, great. If it doesn't, that was my response that I was given. So I'm doing my job.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one, we're adjourned.
Good job.